Yes, yes, yes! It's good to see all of you today. We continue the countdown for the final chapters of My Hero Academia. Michael Malger, it is good to see you here as always. Man, I'm trying to remember the first time you stopped by this channel. Matter of fact, it's probably best if I do this while you guys can see me. Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here. Welcome back to yet another live reaction to the last few chapters of My Hero Academia. It's a peculiar thing to say now, but we are pretty much reaching. After this chapter, we're only going to have 3 more chapters of My Hero, and then the series is over. So I'm just thinking back to all the people who have stopped by this channel, and maybe you're only here for My Hero Academia, my ways of reading My Hero Academia. But I just want to say, even though I'll probably say this again during the very last chapter, it's been a fun ride reading and entertaining all of you with my dramatic reading and our sessions with My Hero Academia over the past 5 years. And I just want to say thank you for sticking it out with me, for, just enjoying yourselves in the environment I created when I first started reading these chapters. Thank you. It's been amazing. It's been an honor to be your entertainer for this specific series. And let's just continue on. Midoriya Shonen, it's good to see you as well. But today, we got a brand new chapter. Chapter 427. I'll wait for it to load up. It's still good. Chapter 427. Who was Tomura Shigaraki, really? And we have people getting asked this question. Chapter 427. Who was Tomura Shigaraki, really? And we have people being asked this question out on the streets, like a news reporter is asking them this. Office worker 35. Who was Tomura Shigaraki, really? He was one terrifying fellow. Thank goodness he was defeated. Who was Tomura Shigaraki, really?
My friend got killed by that vicious murderer. Honestly, this blows. My life's totally messed up now. Also, my house was destroyed.
Who was Tomura Shigaraki, really? Before was students who were 21 years of age. And then here we have a housewife of 70 years of age.
I can't help but wonder if they couldn't have stopped him sooner.
And then restaurant owner, 30. Who was Tomura Shigaraki, really? Look, everyone thought that freak was a 2-bit punk at first. Nobody expected him to turn into such a threat.
Though the restoration is moving along at a brisk pace thanks to an outpouring of international support and volunteers, those efforts have yet to reach some parts of the nation. The mountains of rubble yet to be cleared show the widespread extent of the damage.
Yo, Spinner and Midoriya. Spinner and Midoriya. They're talking to each other. Yo, we were right. We were right. I was right. You guys were right. He went in there to speak to Spinner, but he's in this room being supervised while Midoriya's talking to him. Midoriya is over on one side, shaved head because of him recovering and a big old scar on the side of his face. Spinner literally bandaged all the way up, just left sitting in a chair with the most solemn of eyes.
A great number of citizens had their lives turned upside down by the unprecedented wave of terrorism incited by the League of Villains. Who exactly was the League's leader, Tomura Shigaraki? Find out now in part 2 of this special report.
And then we have the doctor who was looking after basically Spinner after he went berserk and tried to assault that hospital. He was in the process of becoming a full-fledged Nomu, as his body was unable to withstand multiple quirks like body bulk and scale mail. However, thanks to the great strides we've made in Nomu research, we just barely managed to halt that process before it had progressed too far. Pretty shameless of you to strut in here, murderer. I'm not here to deny that. Spinner, you don't get to call Midoriya a murderer when the person you followed literally lived for that. You don't... It would be Tomura Shigaraki's biggest fan and biggest supporter that would call the very person that eradicated him a murderer, it would be Spinner. I'm sure he has his reasons, but for us looking out here looking in, it's like, bruh, you serve someone who killed people on a regular basis. You don't get to call Midoriya, who did it to save the world, a murderer. Pretty shameless of you to strut in here, murderer. I'm not here to deny that, only to deliver Shigaraki's parting words. Oh yeah? Here to kick a guy while he's down? You're one sick puppy, you know. Coming from the person that wanted to incite a revolution amongst heteromorphic people to assault a hospital that had no defenses save for a couple of upcoming heroes and doctors and nurses. But Midori is the one who's sick. Okay. If Spinner survived, tell him this. You survived, so here's the message. Even to the bitter end, Tomino Shigaraki kept fighting to destroy. Huh? And the Midori's just looking at him. Shigaraki told you to say that? Yes, to you, Spinner. Me? Toga and Dabi too, yeah? And Compress? No, only you. And Spinner's left speechless by these passing words. Can't talk now, can you? Shigaraki was my shining hope. With a smile, he said we'd destroy everything. He transformed Deka into a gnarly crater. He represented me in my voice. When I was oppressed for who I am, I was ready to give up on life. I was just some stinking heteromorph after all. No, I decided not to dwell on that crap. Too painful to think back on. And then Spinner gets up. And Spinner not only gets up, but he also starts to grow in size. So that quirk, that bulk body quirk within him, it still resides. But he gave a guy like me a stream to cling to. I had hope for major change. I dreamt I could be somebody. And then the doctor comes up and goes, You don't have to put up with this from him. If need be, I can subdue. And then Midoriya's all like, No, I got this. Tomino Shigaraki was my hero! And he just holds on to Midoriya. But Midoriya is not really fazed by this. Then we cut back to people's words of Shigaraki on the news. Destroying the world just for the heck of it? That ain't a worthy cause. Just a temper tantrum without a lick of sense behind it. He was a gamer. The ongoing investigation by the authorities is revealing that the man had quite the tragic past. Figuring out the root cause matters, sure, but let's not turn this into some sob story. Hold on, getting called. Sorry, a lot was being requested of me. My sincerest apologies. But Spinner goes back. He was a gamer. I got to go back to this panel here. Sorry, I had to step away. Family stuff needed to be attended to real quick. He was a gamer. And Spinner says this with tears in his eyes.
The ongoing investigation by the authorities is revealing that the man had quite the tragic past. Figuring out the root cause matters, sure, but let's not turn this into some sob story, or else sympathizers might be converted to the cause all over again.
The whole time I was a shut-in, video games were all I had, and he was also a fan of all my faves.
It had to be said. It has to be said, and we've got to say it with our whole heart, so allow me. The guy was a piece of crap.
He was my very first friend.
And as he says this, Spinner starts to shift back down to his normal state. No longer, emotionally triggering Bulk Body. Shigaraki told me he needed to be a hero to you all. The League of Villains held a special place in his heart. And I'm sure he felt the same way about you as you did him, which is why I think he wanted to let you know. I got caught up in the frenzy, and at some point I stopped dwelling on the idea that we were past the point of no return. I've always been too slow on the uptake. If only I'd taken one more step, then just maybe, I could have saved my hero and friend. And this is when Spinner was thinking back to when things started to go haywire for their crew, and also when Shigaraki was in great pain when his body started to go out of control, and it was just this giant mass of fingers in a cave, and Spinner was all like, what the heck is that? And he goes deeper into it, and he sees Shigaraki just shriveled on the ground, recoiling from this outburst of power from him. And even back then, he was majorly concerned about Shigaraki, even more so than any other person in the entire team of villains. Genuinely concerned. Not like All for One's concerned, where it's all like, I'm concerned that my potential new vessel might not be responding properly. No, he was all like, this is my friend, I need to look after him. He was the only person that truly cared about Shigaraki on a personal level. No one else did. And maybe the next Tomura Shigaraki or All for One is out there, waiting with bated breath. We have to keep an eye out for the next threat. And then as Midoriya prepares to leave, Spinner speaks. You bunch are gonna keep fighting, right? Sooner or later, I bet you'll forget all about Tomura Shigaraki. And the League. Just smiles and good times for you. Well, I'm gonna write a book, one about Tomura Shigaraki, the symbol of fear, and about how the League of Villains lived to destroy. A book that'll stick it to you heroes forever and ever. The past never dies, and I'll spin the tale of Tomura Shigaraki. And Midoriya goes, make it a comic book. Huh? And don't worry. I won't ever forget. I got a message too. Tell your octopus pal to give life all he's got. See, even a genuine respect amongst like Shoji and Spinner. And then we have people waiting in a waiting room, Sukauchi and All Might. And All Might is in a wheelchair. How'd it go, kid? Did you pass on the message? Yeah. Regarding your request about Chisaki. Yo! It's Chisaki! And he's talking to his old boss! Bruh! The one person he was concerned about above all else, even after losing both of his arms. Even when Chisaki was there with Lady Nagant, all he cared about was just finding the boss. And now he gets to see the boss. Mind you, we're in this big penitentiary, which still seems to be being worked on, because I take it that this is one of the prisons that got raided. Or maybe it's a work in progress and they're building a brand new one since Tartarus has suffered massive damage across the board. But Chisaki is there, and he's there in front of his old boss of the Hazaikai.
What a sorry state you're in, Chisaki. Boss, you were never supposed to come out of that coma! You mean what your quirk did to me? Too bad for you, they're making huge strides with support items these days. And I ain't your boss. The gang's done and gone. Boss! I said to never stray from the path of humanity. Now look how you wound up. I was always there, reaching out with a guiding hand, teaching you not to head down the wrong path. I'm guessing Kurono never talked back and took you to task, huh?
And Chisaki has his face just pressed up against the glass. And he's just crying. This dude is crying. He's bawling right now.
Sorry. I'm sorry, boss. Too little, too late. It's Eri who deserves a lifetime of your sorries anyhow. Nah, that girl'll go on to forget all about you, but don't you dare forget what you put her through. And make no mistake, I'll be taking you to task till the day you go to hell.
Whoo! The boss. Yo, I'm sorry. I feel bad for Chisaki. The very person he has revered above everyone else during the entirety of his inception of this into this story is looking at him like, you are so. He's like reacting to him like Soldier Boy did to Homelander.
You are such a disappointment.
But he did try to warn him, though. He did try to warn him. But Chisaki was all like, no, I'm going to go a different way.
And make no mistake, I'll be taking you to task till the day you go to hell.
And then we have Midoriya.
Thank you, Detective Tsukauchi.
Of course, this is a much better option than making Eri relive that nightmare.
What can we do to make it all stop for good?
It's not going to stop.
Well, we could ask Hawks to drum up an army's worth of heroes.
Huh? Hawks wields that kind of power?
Just joking.
Look sharp, frowns upside down, people. The new first years are joining our lessons today, so we can't be all doom and gloom around them.
But we'll barely see them going forward.
There's not much contact between grade levels in the hero course.
Todoroki! Oh my god, it's dynamite! Can I get your contact info? I'm a huge fan! Let me take a selfie with you. You're so awesome!
What on earth? And this is both Bakugo and Todoroki dealing with the fact that they got groupies. What on earth? Expel them all! Right now! And then it cuts to Midoriya, who's all like, these first years are intense! And even Mineta has this look of all like, why are y'all acting like that? You know, the same person that would not shy away from being all like, let's go see, what is wrong with all these women over here? He's looking like, ugh. He has the face of SpongeBob when he was doing that dance, like, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Ugh, who put you on the planet?
Like that face from SpongeBob, Mineta has that same face. He's looking all like, what is wrong with all of these women? But even Midoriya is shocked by how energetic these new first years are to see, Dynamite and Todoroki. And that's the end of the chapter. So now we get to talk. Let me see. Okay, Michael Malger, Midoriya, CD's good to see you. Kitty, good to see you as well. Let me see what you guys have said. Almost quirkless Deku wordlessly putting up a hand to the doctor and calmly allowing Spinner to pick him up and yell at him is the single coolest thing he's ever done, honestly. The dude has reached a level of chill after everything that has gone down, Midoriya. Spinner is nothing compared to All For One and everything that came from him. Literally, it's like you face off against the biggest boss, the hardest boss. It's like facing off against the final boss of Shadow of the Erdtree, and then facing bosses in the base game. It's like after you go through that entire ordeal, everything underneath that boss is like I can't even be bothered with this. It's not even that big of a deal. Obviously, he's had a lot of epic moments and fights and everything, and all those were legendary, but this one hits different. Yes, because this is a quirkless Deku treating someone who's as powerful as Spinner, who can still access a little bit of his bulk body quirk, which could be a threat to him, but Midoriya is not bothered by it. He is not bothered by it at all. This shows you just how far Midoriya has grown as not only an individual, but as a hero. He's not going to react frantically in the face of potential danger. He's going to analyze this situation. And mind you, this is a person that no longer has Danger Sense, Smokescreen, Float, Black Whip, Fajin, Gear Shift, anything. He doesn't have any of that at all. But he's reacting to it in a calm, mature manner. Because this man has seen some things. This young man has seen some things. So to see that level of character growth where he was intimidated by foes that could potentially end him, now he's just like really calm about everything. Because all that fighting has just put him in a state of like, it's not that big of a deal anymore. I just take the punches as they come, but I'm not going to lose my composure. That flashback scene to Spinner and Shigaraki in the cave, I remember seeing that in the anime, followed by the title card, Let You Down. I remember seeing that and thinking about the new meaning the placement of that title card gave to Spinner. To see that scene used as a flashback here makes me think it was intentional. The boss is so real for all of that. He is. He tried to warn him. The boss of the Hasaikai tried to warn him. But no, Chisaki thought he would take it. He thought he would take it into his own hands and then just dictate how things would go forward. Not to mention, he pretty much did one of the heinous things he could ever do. And essentially draw in a little child and then just essentially, for those who don't know, the reason why he was able to make the reversal drug was because he would use his quirk. He would use his quirk on Eri, literally break her down, and then reform her repeatedly, over and over. Imagine your whole body just disassembled and then brought back. It isn't like the Op fruit in One Piece where Law can cut you apart, but you're still fine. You think you got cut, but you didn't do anything. It didn't do anything to like physically dismember you in a way where you're dead permanently. It's literally disassembling your entire body instantly. It's like, and when he touches you, he literally could just obliterate your entire body. That's what he did to Eri all the time. And that's how he came up with the quirk reversing drug. So now, getting told by the very person who you thought was in a coma and you have to be by their side and you have to take care of him, getting told by the very same person you revere that, no, you deserve everything that just happened to you. I told you not to go down that wrong path. I told you to stay on the path of humanity, and you didn't listen. This is your fault. See, what I like about this chapter, and I got to go back to this whole thing, this whole speech. I got to go back to this whole speech when he was talking to Chisaki. I was always there, reaching out with a guiding hand, teaching you not to go down the wrong path. I'm guessing Kurono never talked back and took you to task, huh? So all the people after the boss went into the coma, no one dared say anything against Chisaki out of fear of him basically disassembling their bodies. No one tried to buck up against them. No one tried to stand up to him. Everyone treated Chisaki like Homelander. Do not get on his bad side. Just let him do whatever he wants and let him go down this path of insanity. No one with the gall to reject his orders or even question him in any way. And now here we have Chisaki with both of his arms gone, with a singular mindset of trying to take care of his boss or look after his boss who shouldn't have woken up from the coma that Chisaki put him in. Now he's up just saying like, and I ain't your boss, the gang's done and gone. I said to never stray from the path of humanity. Now look how you wound up. And then he's all like, I'm sorry, boss, I'm sorry. Too little, too late. It's Eri who deserves a lifetime of your sorries anyhow.
Nah, that girl will go on to forget all about you, but don't you dare forget what you put her through.
Literally driving that nail in. Driving that nail in is all like, it's your fault that you're in this situation. And I hope that everyone involved with you forgets about you because you put yourself in this situation. I love this chapter. I really do. But we also get like a tender moment with Spinner and Midoriya. And even though Midoriya like knows that the message sent from Shigaraki to Spinner is probably going to rile up some emotions from Spinner, I mean, thankfully, Spinner has never been the type to have emotional and rage-filled outbursts. He's still, very emotional. Very emotional as a teenager. So he's sad that he didn't just lose a leader. He lost a friend, a person that he could share interests in games with. He lost someone very dear and close to him. And even then, he's all like, I'm going to write a book so we can stick it to you heroes. So like we brought up in the last chapter, the way things are going, it's not going to be like a happily ever after where everyone reconciles or everyone is understanding or everyone is all like, okay, I understand you feel this way. I understand you understand I feel this way. It's like, and no one is going to be leaving this place with absolute happy thoughts. Because we have Natsuo, who's all like, yeah, I don't want you, I'm done with you, Dad. I'm done with you, Endeavor. I don't want you, I'm getting married, but I'm never going to have you meet my girlfriend, and you're not invited, and I don't want anything more to do with you. People are in a state right now where there are some things that just cannot be fixed. Some wounds cannot be healed at all. And regardless of the intent, regardless of the outcome, there are some people who will constantly feel this way because they're either bitter or they are just that steadfast in their ideals. Because Spinner was all like, how does it come to rub it in, murderer? And I'm like, hold on, let me see. This is the reason why I love reading My Hero. Let me see. Pretty shameless of you to strut in here, murderer. It's kind of ironic for him to call Midoriya the murderer when he was a part of a group of people that had absolutely no problem murdering hundreds, if not thousands. Like, is he completely forgetting the Deka City incident with how many people Shigaraki murdered? That was murder. That was murder. He killed all those people. He wiped out half of an entire city and left it a crater when he was fighting Redestro. But Midoriya's the murderer because he killed Shigaraki. Oh yeah, here to kick a guy while he's down, you're one sick puppy, Like I said before earlier in the reaction, he was the one leading the charge of a whole bunch of riled up, anger-filled, heteromorphic race people who were going to assault a hospital that had nothing but civilians guarding people inside. Just regular civilians. But Midoriya's sick because he wants to impart Shigaraki's last words on him. And I understand he's mad, he's upset. But at the same time, hypocritical, I love that Deku and Spinner scene so much. It's so incredibly poignant and melancholy, but still so satisfying and very, very much needed. It touches my soul. We are just seeing a different side of Deku. He still looks like he is sad, and I feel bad for him. It still feels bittersweet because not only and I feel like it's not just because of the way that Midoriya is feeling, but it's also because there's this underlying feeling of that this story is really about to end in 3 chapters. It's about to end in 3 chapters, so we're looking at people's faces, their behavior, how they feel, even despite everything that's going on. Midoriya is still carrying memories and feelings of an entire war that has claimed countless lives, that culminated in the loss of another life that could have been saved if all that person got in the beginning of their life was a helping hand of someone who wanted to help them and not the helping hand of someone who wanted to help themselves. So it's like bittersweet, and you could just feel like this could be what could have been. What could have been if we actually got to Shigaraki and expelled All For One? Could he have atoned for his sins? Could he have Could we have solved things in an amicable manner, in a peaceful manner? Amicable. I want to say amicable manner. Amicable. I might be pronouncing that word wrong, but it's just a heavy feeling. Like, this isn't like he's going to all these people and he's just trying to resolve any lasting final things to do, and he's just going to go on with his life. Sure, he's going to do that, but there's still feelings that are just looming there. I was rewatching season 1, episode 1 of My Hero, and honestly, Deku could have ended up becoming a villain because of how people treated him. Yeah. The retrospect of Midoriya's life and Shigaraki's life is that Shigaraki was basically raised and groomed to be this being that could because after finding out All For One's plan for him, we look at Shigaraki's life and he was literally sired for the entire purpose of becoming a vessel for All For One. So his entire life was just steeped in misery and pain and rage and anger, which was constantly encouraged in order to make him more and more capable of stealing the very thing that All For One could never steal on his own. Whereas we have Midoriya, whose whole life was brought up with the happiness of heroes, wishing to be a hero, even after being told that he couldn't be a hero or he could never get a quirk because he was essentially born quirkless. He still kept an optimistic outlook on life. Even when people like Bakugo, in the early stages of their lives, was constantly looking down on him, making fun of him, Midoriya still kept fast to his ideals and still had the mindset of wanting to help people and save people with a smile, like his idol All Might. And that progressed even further when he was given One for All by All Might. And that feeling of wanting to save people became his main method of, going into battle against villains. Some villains, he would just straight up one-shot. Like, the moment Midoriya one-shot Muscular, you can tell that Midoriya had what I wouldn't even say peaked. It was, Midoriya was at the height of his mentality of dealing with stuff as a hero. Yet he always kept that same fundamental feeling of how he always, of his entire outlook as the main way he behaved. He never changed. He never got worse. Sure, he had a moment where he was all like, I need to handle this on my own so no one else could be threatened, no one else could get hurt, nothing like that. He had a short stint of that, but it took the very person who drove him to continuously be a hero and behave like a hero, Bakugo. It took Bakugo apologizing to him for Midoriya to have like an introspective for himself. And that drive of just, I need to do this by myself and end this war turned into, I have friends I can rely on. We can all be heroes together. Even when face-to-face against Shigaraki and he was steadily losing pieces of One for All, bit by bit, in order to break into Shigaraki's mindscape, he was still willing to do what was necessary in order to stop him, even if it meant costing him his life potentially. And he even lost both of his arms in this moment, he lost both of his arms in an attempt to break through the mindscape of Shigaraki as a child to Tenko in order to bring some reconciliation with Nana Shimura for basically being used as the reason as to why everything happened. Her being killed by All For One speaking to his Kotaro at a young age and then orchestrating everything from there, being able to say, I'm sorry for everything that happened. And despite all that, Midoriya still wanted to save Shigaraki, even as All For One tried to take his body back over. That takes dedication. Because we've seen heroes in this entire story give up. We've seen them give up because it was too much. And yet Midoriya, who was has come face to face with to some people, many impossible odds, decided to keep moving forward in the efforts of bringing about a world of peace, a world where everyone can smile. After being told, yes, you too can be a hero. So now we're here with Midoriya, and we're seeing the culmination of that entire story. We just got 3 more chapters left. And it just shows you that when it comes to heroes, There is no other like Midoriya. I'm also rewatching My Hero from the start now. Watching all these characters at the beginning of their journeys before all this happened to them is so emotional. Yeah. Let me see. This story is about to end in 3 chapters, and there are still so many things that will need to be left unresolved because they're the kind of thing that can never truly be resolved. So bittersweet. Let me see. Deku is so freaking cool, compassionate, and optimistic, but willing to see the world as it is, with all of its faults, and act decisively when necessary. What a complete and utter legend. Yes, he sees the world. He knows the world is twisted. He knows some people will never change, but that should not stop him from change. That should not stop him. That should not force him to change from who he is, just because the world wants to behave a certain way. And I mean it in a negative sense. The world may laugh at heroes, jeer at heroes, look down on heroes, but he knows what he stands for. This is a person that knows what he stands for and does not compromise. He will not compromise his well-being. He will not compromise his own ideals for the sake of trying to appease other people. He's still going to be a hero, even if he doesn't have a quirk anymore. Oh, and by the way, Solo Leveling Season 2 trailer is out and looks fire. Oh, yes, it is. I saw it last night. To the top. I love that opening theme song, but I can't wait for Season 2 this October. But what we're seeing here is the mark of a true hero. This is the Midoriya we had at the beginning of the series that did things because his body moved all on its own. He didn't need a quirk to confirm, okay, I got a quirk, I have power, now I can go out and save people. He did it because it was right, and he didn't need a quirk in order to do it. He's going out here to these different places, to these different people who could very well kill him directly on the spot, but he's not concerned because he's progressed as a hero who doesn't need a quirk to solve problems. That's where Midoriya has progressed to. He's a hero that doesn't need a quirk to be a hero. And that's what I love about Midoriya. But let me not Bleach trailer out too. Oh yes, it's beautiful. But I said everything that I needed to say. We have a Jujutsu Kaisen chapter. It is not chapter 263. We are getting chapter 262.2. That is the name and number of the chapter that we get for Jujutsu. So I'm looking forward to that. But I'm done, ladies and gentlemen. If I don't see you for the last 3 chapters, of My Hero when they come out, I just want to say it has been an honor serving as your My Hero Academia reactioneer. And I really do hope that you've enjoyed this entire story that I've read over the past 5 years. It's been an honor and a privilege. But I'm done. You guys, for those of you who are here, thank you for tuning in today. It really was a beautiful moment for today's chapter, but I'm looking forward to the final 3, and then we can say that we're done. I'm late, but I really enjoyed the chapter, as did we all, Halster. We all did. But it's an immense honor and privilege to be your entertainer. With that being said, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe, because not only are we 12 people away from hitting 5K subscribers, but because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later peoples, on to Jujutsu Kaisen.